Welcome to the Proven Team Building course. We're going to be talking about how to build a team to help you expand and grow your business, specifically with Amazon, but the things that we're going to talk about really can apply to almost any business that you're working on. So I'm Melanie James. I'm going to be presenting a lot of the content, and we have Gary Baird with us, who has also built a great team and is going to be providing a lot of information for you. So let's just introduce ourselves a little bit more fully here for you. Gary, do you want to go ahead there?
Sure. My wife and I started running our Amazon business through FBA in September of 2011, and I had just been moved from a position I was happy with to a position I wasn't happy with at my school, and needed something to keep me engaged. So that was it. And she's been doing it full time since then, and I will be joining her in June of this year. June 1st will be our first day going 100% full time, but not being full time kind of forced me to grow the team, which is where I started the team building process.
It's funny how often challenges become some of our biggest assets in building our businesses.
Yeah, it was the best part of going back to teach this year, which I wasn't planning on doing. But yeah, we currently have 7 team members who source, ship, handle returns, do our eBay sales. We're getting to the point where we're teaching them to create listings. I have somebody repricing for me now, so we're adding little tasks here and there as we go and continually growing the team as far as numbers and skill levels. And we also have 10 VAs who source for us for our daily deals list that we put out, Essential Daily Deals.
Awesome. All right, so a little bit more about me. So my husband and I really started our businesses because we wanted to work together, and we've been entrepreneurs since 2009, and we came to Amazon and eBay in 2013. So we have several things going, but Amazon and eBay are definitely, Amazon FBA specifically, are definitely our main businesses and income at this point. We have 8 team members total that work for us on Amazon and non-Amazon tasks. And since we started, we've trained 16 different people to process and buy for us. So we've really had a lot of opportunity to kind of perfect this process. So an interesting and important part of our business was about a year ago, we were connected with a company that had 6 team members that, so their business was very seasonal. And so 6 months out of the year during the off season, they really had nothing for their people to do. But they didn't want to let them go because they needed them and they were trained, for the busy season. And so we worked out a deal with them to basically set up an Amazon business for them that we just kind of plugged in to their off season, and we went out. They're actually located in another state. So this wasn't something where we could be there holding their hand the whole time.
Right.
And so we went out, and in 1 week, we trained 6 people to receive, prep, list, and ship FBA inventory. So we had about 10 hours total to work with them. And after that training, it's gone so smoothly. The first few weeks we had, 2, 3, 4 calls a day with questions. After that, it quickly went down to 1 or 2 calls a week, and everything goes in, probably as good or better than our team here. So, almost no problems at all. It's been fantastic. So I know that the system that I've set up can work independent of me personally, if that makes sense. And so we're going to kind of be using that as a bit of a test case as we explain in this course how to set up a system and train people, and then we'll be given lots of different ideas of ways that can be modified too for whatever your specific situation is. Okay, so tell me if this sounds like you and your business right now. Okay, does the thought of growing your business just exhaust you because it's going to be so much work for you personally? you don't have time to improve your business because you're so busy just maintaining it, doing just the day-to-day little tasks that have to be done. And so you pass up real opportunities because, again, you don't have the time involved to do the work. If you take a break from your business and your income are going to suffer. Your house is constantly full of products, and it's causing strain on your family. And I don't know how many people I've talked to, even just at this most recent CES conference alone, where this was the major strain in their business. Did you have that too, Gary, talking to people?
I was just going to say that. That was one of the biggest things that people, I coach a bunch of Jim's coaching clients, and that's a huge pain point is not having, a room in the house. And that was one of our pain points. That's why we moved out to a warehouse and built out the team, because it was, we had a wing of our house that we were going to use, a couple of rooms that we were going to use for that, and then it just kind of spread into the whole house, and it just took over our family basically.
It does. You think, yay, I'm going to work from home, and unwittingly you move your business, your family into your work.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and that was the point where we decided we've got to get this out of the house because the kids they don't understand that they can't play with the toys.
Right.
My 1-year-old's eating tags off of things.
Yeah, we had the same problem, but with 2 pugs, and you'd have hair and stuff, and it was just not, it wasn't good. So we had to keep everything off the floor and couldn't put anything on the floor. So because of them, and, the one wanted to chew everything, so we had to, if you wanted to sell anything, it had to be on tables, and it just took over every surface of our house.
Right. Yep. So if it's time to get the business out of your house, let's get going on that. All right. You work more hours now than you did at your, quote, real job, and there's no end in sight. I think most entrepreneurs have been through this, whether it's Amazon or some other business, where suddenly, your 40-hour-a-week work goes to 60 and 80 hours a week, and it's tough,
Yeah. And you even see people brag about that. I see posts on Facebook, I work 80 hours a week for myself so I don't have to work 40 for somebody else. Well, I'd rather work 20 for myself and let the team work the rest of it instead of that 40 hours. So, if you take pride in that, that's great, but I'd rather outsource and let a team run that stuff for me.
Exactly. And like I said, my husband and I have been living the entrepreneur life since 2009. And so at first it's kind of exciting and you have the energy for it, and then it really starts to take its toll.
Sure.
But it doesn't have to be that way is the thing. And that's what we're here to talk about.
Right.
Okay, do you live in fear that if you get sick or something happens to you, your income will be gone? With FBA, it's nice because things can keep selling as long as they're there, but nothing new's going in. And if it's all depending on you, that's a risky place to be, really. And I talk to a lot of people who are very afraid of that.
Yeah,
and again, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, this happened to us. My second Q4 had emergency appendectomy right in the middle of Q4, right at the beginning of December, and we probably lost $50,000 in sales just because I was in the hospital for a week, and after that I was still recovering. And then 3 months later, during that surgery, they found out I had kidney cancer, so I had to go in for a kidney removal, and so that took me out for at least 6 weeks, where I couldn't actually pack. I could still shop online and things like that, but I couldn't do any of the physical stuff. Fortunately, my wife at that point, we were doing it together, and she was handling all of that part. But if I had a team, we wouldn't have slowed down a bit.
Right. Yeah. I know Robin Johnson had a very similar story about being in the hospital during Q4, and that's what pushed her to hand stuff over because she had to. And then you don't go back. You realize you don't want to.
That's right.
So in a lot of ways, what we're talking about here is the bottleneck. You've got to identify the bottleneck in your business, and this is either the process or the person or the resource that is preventing your business from being any bigger, faster, better than it currently is. So at first, when you're just starting, it's going to be knowledge and expertise. You just have to learn what you need to do to grow your business. For a lot of people at some point, it's money. You only have so much capital to invest, and it doesn't matter what else is there. That's all you can do. As you grow that and you find more opportunities, eventually your bottleneck is going to be time because you only have so much time each day, and there's nothing you can do about that other than to build a team and leverage other people's time.
That's right.
So that's what we are here talking about. So let's do a quick course overview to tell you what we're going to tell you. So we're going to talk about why you need a team, and we're going to address common concerns about hiring people. We're going to talk about preparing your business to hire by having a system and a process in place beforehand, and this is key to really succeeding and getting off the ground running with it. We're going to discuss the difference between employees and contract workers, compensation and job benefits, how are you going to pay them, and all of that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about how to find potential candidates, the interview process, talking to references. We're going to give you a detailed process for training inventory processors and buyers, and then talk about how to build effective communication between team members. We're going to talk about monitoring and working with your team remotely. So you don't have to be there at the office working with them every day. That's one thing I hear people say is, well, I want to work from home. I don't want to work from an office. I have an office and I work from home. My team works from the office. I go there when it's convenient and helpful for me, but I probably spend less than 2 hours a week at my office most of the time.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's where we're heading, but we're not there yet. My wife, I told her I want her to be over there a few hours a week, just to monitor things, and if there's any problems, handle it, but that's it.
Right. Yep. And yeah, I back that off over time too, but you don't have to be right there all the time. We manage this other team from another state, and we've never been back after that original training. So,
awesome.
Yeah, you don't have to be a slave to your business. This is to free you. We're going to talk about tips for handling problems with your team. How to get buy-in from team members. How do you get that loyalty and enthusiasm that you want and hope for? Yeah, and then tips for just managing and growing that team. And then I wanted to put this on here too. Here's a few books that I recommend. EntreLeadership is a really great book by Dave Ramsey that just talks about the whole process. You've read that, haven't you, Gary?
Yeah, that's a great book. It changed the way I thought about building a team.
Exactly. It really is about team building, not just hiring people. And it talks about the whole process from selecting candidates, interviewing, to actually, working with and growing your business as a team.
Yeah, the best part of that for me was the hiring process, because we'll talk about this later, but we had a bad experience, and if we had followed that, his process for, actually taking the time to hire people the right way, we probably wouldn't have had that issue.
Yeah. And then I also put on here The E-Myth, which is a book I read early on when I was first going to hire somebody for our other business. And as I read it, I'm going to tell you, it was like looking in the mirror at all of the mistakes that I had made or was currently about to make in small business. And so I really recommend that book. And it's really good about talking about building systems in your business.
Yeah.
And then Good to Great is also a really good book I recently read that just talks about what it is about the great companies and then how you start building that in early on.
Yep. Yeah, I've read all three of those, and they're all awesome.
Good.